Well, welcome back to the channel. We're getting ready to embark on wiring this fuse panel. It's a little intimidating to me. I mean, it seems pretty simple. I think I've got the basic idea of how to do it, but it's one of the pieces of the puzzle here that for me is a little stressful to do, because it's one of those things, if I screw up on one of these wires and cut something too short or don't do it right, then I have to re-pull that wire. So that's the part that kind of stresses me out a little bit. Well, so that being said, we're gonna get busy with this and see if we can get this wired correctly. I mean, to manage to do the rest of the house, I think I can figure out how to put in the breakers. But we have all the breakers here on site, and we've got everything wired to the panel, and now we'll start putting her together. Well, I went ahead and I put in one breaker up here just to see exactly how they fit and go into the slots. That way I know exactly how I'm going to wire this. A little bit of thinking with my way through this. I've seen it done where, people who wire these panels strip all of these things off, strip all of them off at one time and then run them. I am not quite that confident. Maybe I'll as I pick up speed and start to do some of these, I'll get more confident and think about doing that. But for now, I'm just going to do one at a time and see what I get as I go along there. All right, well, we got our first one in. It's seems pretty simple. It's just a matter of keeping all my wires straight and looking nice, but we're getting there little by little. I got to figure out a way to kind of speed this up. Otherwise, it's going to take me days and days to do this, but it's looking pretty good so far. Well, I managed to get two in, and I've got my third one set here. I got 15 per side. I got 30 total. I'm hoping I have enough slots and don't have to change this box out. That would really suck, but so be it. We'll just keep working with it and see what we've got here. But it is a slow going process for sure for me. I'm trying to keep everything straight and nice in here, and I'm cutting off and putting labels down below here, just so that I have a knowledge of what each of the wires is, just as a precaution for later on in case I got to change stuff out. But we'll also be labeling the panel cover as we go here. As I said, because I'm going 1 through 15 and 15 through 30, I'm keeping track of what is where, so that I can label the panel cover that goes on here. I'll have to label that so I know exactly which ones are what on here. So I'm keeping track in my book, and then as I'm going, I'll label the panel. I may have Colleen label the panel since her writing is a little bit nicer than mine. Mine's a little sketchy and hard to read, so I will let her do it rather than have my doctor writing. All right, so this is our cover for the panel. Some screws for it, and then all of our labels for what is in each thing is right here on the door. So I'll go ahead and I'll mark these in after we're done, and before we pop out all of these things to put it up in the panel. One thing I've also done, I've got a box right here for all of our cut-offs, so that I'm trying to keep a kind of a clean work area as I'm going. That way I can, not have a big mess as I'm trucking along here. All right, so there we go. We have our GFI installed, and all the rest of these breakers are good to go. And now we'll get busy and start on this next side. I've got 4 standard 20 amp breakers that I'm going to install here, and then there's going to be 3 more GFI. Then we've got our washing machine, our dryer, and then the hot water heater, and then we've got our 6 3-wire for the furnace and for the stove. So we'll get those in next, and we'll start working on that. But I'll start with the lighter stuff, or the GFIs, and then I'll work my way down to the larger diameter wire. All right, so we got all the one side wired with all the 20 amp circuits on this side that are standard 20 amp breakers. And now we got to put in this 20 amp GFI. We've got 4 of these things to put in. There are certain runs that require this. The master bathroom, master or guest bathroom, and I need 2 GFI runs for the kitchen. And this is what the breaker looks like. It's got that little purple test button there for the breaker as well. That's how you know it's the 20 amp GFI. So we'll go ahead and get this. The last one is going to be installed on this side, and then I'm going to put the remaining 3 on the other side, and then our other runs. But we're getting closer. Like I said, this is a slow process for me, but I want to make sure I'm doing it right and getting that. So what I've done is I've wired the hot to the breaker, neutral to the neutral bus bar, and then I've got the ground bar here that I added that we've got all the grounds run to. So we're making good progress. We'll just continue on by starting with the first of the GFIs. One thing of note on this breaker, it's got a plug-in neutral connection. So this plugs right onto the neutral bar on this side right here. And then we'll run the neutral wire to this bottom one here, and then the hot to the top, if I read the instructions correctly. If not, we'll find out when they do the inspection. But I'm pretty sure that's how it goes together, so we'll get that connected. The first of 3 GFIs on this side, I'm going to start there and get those in, and then work on my bigger breakers as I go down. Because like I said, I've got the 6 3-wire for the stove, and then for the furnace, I'm going to try and do those towards the bottom just to give myself some room with the size of the wire and that. But the GFIs stick out a little bit farther than the other 20 amps, and so I'm putting those at the top so I have room to work instead of having to mess with the coil of wire. Well, because that breaker is so beefy, it extends kind of up over a little bit here. I'm going to go ahead and get my grounds all installed first, and then I will finish off with that 90 amp breaker. All right, so all of our grounds are connected into this ground bar, and now we're going to do the last of our connections with the 90 amp breaker. So we're getting there. All right, so now all the breakers have been installed and wired in. I'm pretty happy with that. I was hoping it'd be a little bit neater, but I've got it to where it looks pretty good, and we'll just go with that. Now I've got to take the cover that goes on here. I've got to label all that cover, and then we'll get that put on here and capped off. So what we have to do now is all these little black, or these black. So what we have to do now is all of these gray tabs that are in here have to be removed, and there's one for the surface disconnect down below here that needs to be removed. So I'll get that completed, and then we're ready to go ahead and label our panel, and then we'll get it put up. All right, well, that took a little bit of time to punch all these things out, but that's ready to go. We're just finishing up our labeling on the panel side here, and then we'll go ahead and get this cover installed and finish this job up. All right, so I've got my second 30 amp breaker in the washer the water heater in. That one's all connected. So the next up is going to be the stove, this is a 6-3 wire. It's a lot thicker gauge, but again, it's a double pole. It's 3 wire. So with this breaker right here, you'll do hot, and then the neutral to the neutral bar, and then the ground. So we're going to get that one hooked up next. So that's our 50 amp breaker, and that's for our oven and range. I mean, as you can see, this wire is pretty thick. So we're got two of these 6 wires to go, and then we are done with the fuse panel altogether. So we'll get those installed and go for there. set up and ready to go. And well, that's another major task, and that completes our electrical for in the house altogether. And now we just have to turn to the outside trenching here once the weather cooperates. Like I said, I've spent this last week fighting rain and sleet and snow. And so that is spring in Montana for you, but we managed to get this completed. Anyway, if you like this type of thing, please remember to like and subscribe. And please leave some comments down below. I love getting all the feedback. I've gotten some great information and feedback so far. So thanks for watching.